Good evening. I'm Erin Burnett. Out front tonight, the breaking news. The White House tonight struggling to contain growing outrage over separating families at the U.S.-Mexico border. After repeatedly delaying the White House press briefing today, first it was 1 hour, then it was 2, then another, and then it was 4 hours after the scheduled briefing time till it started. The Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen flew back from New Orleans, and she was the one who started the question and answer session even before Sarah Sanders took the podium. Nielsen was hit with the basics. Questions about the well-being of children in detention centers. Questions about what's happening inside those detention centers. Questions she should have been able to answer.
Have you heard the audio clip of these children wailing that just came out today?
I have not seen something that came out today.
Why is the government only releasing images of the boys who are being held? Where are the girls? Where are the young toddlers?
I don't know. I'm not familiar with those particular images, so I'd have to.
Do you know where the girls are? Do you know where the young toddlers are?
We have children in DHS care both, but as you know, most of the children after 72 hours are transferred to HHS. So I don't know what pictures you're referencing, but I'd have to refer you to HHS.
Boys, but we just haven't seen any of the girls, any of the young toddlers, and you're saying that they are being well cared for. So how can you make that claim if you don't know where they are?
It's not that I don't know where they are. I'm saying that the vast majority of children are held by Health and Human Services. We transfer them after 72 hours. I don't know what pictures you're speaking about, but perhaps they're
been released to the public. They've been aired all over national television.
Okay, by DHS or by HHS?
DHS.
Okay, so let's find out from HHS.
And, you know, kind of a basic thing. Where are all the girls and the toddlers? And what about if they're siblings with the little boys? The reality of it is, of course, is DHS is implementing the Trump administration's zero-tolerance policy that has led to the separation of thousands of children from their parents. The separation of families is something even some Republicans are calling immoral, cruel, and traumatizing. Our Jeff Zeleny asked Nielsen straight up, is this child abuse?
How could this not be child abuse for the people who were taken from their parents? Not the ones who were sent here with their parents' blessing with the smuggler, the people who were taken from their parents.
Unfortunately, I'm not in any position to deal with, hearsay stories. If someone has a specific allegation, as I always do when I testify, I ask that they provide that information to the Department of Homeland Security. We will look into it. Of course, we do not want any situation where a child is not completely adequately taken care of.
Again, not in any position to deal with hearsay, but even if she couldn't answer some of the simple questions that, of course, the Trump administration knew would come at this briefing, could Nielsen admit that the president could be using this issue as leverage in his immigration fight?
Madam Secretary, can you definitively say, are the children being used as pawns against a four-wall? Yes or no? Can you say yes or no to that?
The children are not being used as a pawn. We are trying to protect the children, which is why I'm asking Congress to act.
A definitive answer there. The truth, though, in terms of Congress, well, it doesn't need to act for the government to stop splitting up families. The Attorney General Jeff Sessions announced this zero-tolerance policy back in April, and the president at any moment could order Sessions to stop. Caitlin Collins is out front. And Caitlin, this briefing, obviously, there was high drama, right? Delay. Hours went by. Kirstjen Nielsen finally to the podium. How is this briefing playing inside the White House?
Well, Erin, it doesn't seem, frankly, to be playing out well. Kirstjen Nielsen was brought out to that briefing room to answer questions on this and quiet a lot of the criticism that the Trump administration has faced in recent days as these images have flashed across television screens and been printed on the front page of newspapers. That's precisely why the press secretary, Sarah Sanders, said she wanted Nielsen out there because she's the expert on all of this. But if you watched that briefing and if you were a reporter in that room, she didn't do a lot to quiet that criticism or to really answer any questions. In fact, she contradicted some things that past administration officials have said, including that she didn't believe this was a policy meant to deter people from crossing illegally, even though that's what her mentor, John Kelly, the person who essentially convinced the president to give Kirstjen Nielsen this job as Department of Homeland Security Secretary, replacing him after he became chief of staff, said just last March on CNN that it was his thinking that it would deter people from crossing the border illegally. She couldn't answer basic questions about where the young girls are in these detention facilities. She said she has visited them, but said she couldn't explain for that. She also refused to acknowledge this as a policy of the Trump administration, pretty much going every other way around it to avoid saying that it was a policy, even though it clearly is what their policy is. And we saw the Attorney General Jeff Sessions say as much when he unveiled it just last month. So several things there. She also was blaming Congress repeatedly. We've seen that from the administration several times in recent days. A lot of blame for Democrats here, even though Republicans in Congress haven't gone that far. But basically the bottom line here, Aaron, is she left a lot of people questioning what exactly it was that she accomplished by coming out and speaking with reporters almost in an upbeat mood today, I should note, Aaron, when she really didn't answer that many questions.
No, she didn't. All right. Thank you very much, Caitlin. And I want to go now to the national affairs correspondent for The Nation, Joan Walsh, co-founder and chair of the pro-Trump PAC Women for Trump, Amy Kramer, and White House correspondent for American Urban Radio Network's April Ryan. April, you were in the room, and obviously you were asking a question about the children and whether they were being used as pawns, was your word. What was the vibe in that briefing room? After waiting for, 4 hours, Secretary Nielsen comes to the podium, and everyone just saw a little bit about how she answered questions.
Yeah.
What is the vibe?
Yeah, typically when we are waiting for hours and they push it back, well, they push it back quite a bit. But when you start at 1:15 and then you go to 3:30 and then it's pushed back even further to 5 p.m., they're trying to make moves to fix something, or they're bringing someone out. And that's indeed what happened. This is a very hot topic. The mood in this room was very different. It was off. Prior to the briefing, we were watching that very riveting audio, or watching and listening to that audio with the children crying and at the border and being separated from their family. And then later on, during the time where the Secretary of Homeland Security was answering questions in the Q&A, a reporter who has identified herself on Twitter, Olivia Nuzzi, decided that she was going to play the audio so that the secretary would hear it. And I could hear it in the third row, and she was way in the back of the room. And I could, once I went back in my office here at the White House to do my job, to do my reports, I could clearly hear it on the audio. So my question is, did the secretary, did Madam Secretary, and did the press secretary, White House press secretary, hear it? It was loud enough. And
the
mood in the room,
background listening to the conference.
Yeah, so the mood in the room was, we wanted answers, because this, when you have a president whose base is upset, the religious right, when you have Franklin Graham, you have a lot of people who are in his camp, and even his own wife, who's not happy about this, and all the living first ladies. This is a big issue, and when you deal with children, the nation rises up, even if they're not children of America. These are children nonetheless, no matter where they come from.
Right, and children, of course, as we all know, are children, no matter where they come from.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to play that audio in just a moment, but Joan, let me go to you here. The president of the American Academy of Pediatrics was talking to Gayle King this morning.
Yeah.
She said the practice of separating families, and specifically young children from their parents, is child abuse. Jeff Zeleny asked about it. I played a clip of that, but let me just play Kirstjen Nielsen's response again.
How is this not specifically child abuse for these innocent children who are indeed being separated from their parents?
So I want to be clear on a couple other things. The vast majority of children who are in the care of HHS right now, 10,000 of the 12,000, were sent here alone by their parents. That's when they were separated. We now care for them. We have high standards. We give them meals. We give them education. We give them medical care. There's videos. There's TVs. I visited the detention centers myself. That would be my answer to that question.
She denies it's child abuse.
It's child abuse.
Now, if you take her numbers and say whatever you want to say about the 10,000 who the parents had sent here with other people.
That's a different category
of
story.
That, even by her math, that leaves 2,000 children
we know
who
there
were
are at
separated
least
from their children.
2,000 that the Trump administration separated from their parents. It is absolutely child abuse. Aaron, we're both moms. There's a long literature of what early maternal separation between parent and child does to a child long term, even if it's brief, if it's scary, especially if it's extended. And I could not believe that she sat there and denied it. She knows nothing about conditions. Everything that she was asked specifically about conditions in those facilities, she couldn't tell us a thing. So how can she say they're well cared for? We're hearing stories that children are not, they can't be hugged by these professionals, that because it's kind of a jail atmosphere, not a daycare atmosphere, they literally can't be hugged or picked up when they're crying for their mom. There's a story that a young teenager had to change the diaper of a toddler because the people in charge didn't feel like they were authorized to change diapers. They don't have the right people in place. They are not doing the right thing. They don't have the right facilities. This is child abuse, and it's being done in our name, and it's got to stop.
Amy?
Well, I think it's horrific that we're having to go through this, Erin. I mean, as a mom, I feel for these kids. I mean, my gosh, when I left Atlanta last night, I cried leaving my dog. And America is compassionate. We do care. But the fact of the matter is, this is Congress's responsibility. I don't care if you say it's Republicans or Democrats. Fix the damn problem and fix it now. That's what we need to do.
Amy,
and
in
that's
the
all there
meantime,
is to it.
you got a point in that Congress needs to change the law, and we want to be a nation of laws. I get that.
Yes.
But in the meantime, the president has complete 100% jurisdiction on whether he goes ahead and does this.
This is not a law.
So to
This
say
is a
this,
policy.
Erin,
so
this
to
is the
say
thing,
he's going to pull
Erin.
these
And this is
toddlers
up to
away
their
from their
discretion.
parents. Amy,
Erin,
why is he doing that?
Erin, he tried to fix this problem back in the spring earlier this year when he went to the Democrats. The Democrats don't want to fix this problem. They want this to be their issue going into the midterms because higher taxes and less jobs is not a winning proposition for them. They don't want to fix the problem. That's the real issue here.
There was a bipartisan bill with Republican support and Democrat support, and they refused. The Trump administration refused to sign it. They made clear they wouldn't sign it.
April, are both sides using the children as pawns?
No. Let me say this. This president and the head of Homeland Security could easily reverse this
tonight.
And they could easily do it right now. But at the issue, Sarah Huckabee said, when I asked the head of Homeland Security definitively, is this about children being used as pawns for a wall? She said no, but Sarah Huckabee Sanders came back when another reporter asked, can you just do it just on this piece if you work with Congress? She said it's all or nothing. So they want the wall included.
That's right.
So, I mean, if you have the issue
right now. Do you have a problem with the wall, April? I mean, really, do you have a problem with it?
I am a reporter. Why are you coming at me about the wall? I could care less about a wall.
Because
let me say this to you. I'm a reporter. Don't put this on me.
Secure
this is your
our borders.
Why don't you talk about the people back there? Okay?
Secure our borders.
Don't accuse me. I'm a reporter. I'm asking questions. Okay? Let's get that straight. And it's not about politics. But the bottom line is, when you have children crying and you're hearing reports that these kids are being, you don't know who's changing diapers, there's something wrong.
Right.
I'm not weighing in one side or the other, but I'm saying there's something wrong, and this president can fix it. He could easily fix it.
They're using children as hostages to get their wall. They have taken these children hostages
to get their. That is not
true,
Joan. That is not true.
This is a policy.
President
They are
ran
calling
on
it a
securing the
deterrence.
border.
They are calling it a bargaining
What
position.
does securing the border have
Aaron,
to do with toddlers being separated from their mothers? Amy, why are these things even in the same sentence? You said, then give me the wall.
Why were you not so concerned about this when the Obama administration was doing it? When you're showing these pictures of these so-called cages,
the Obama administration said they did not do this.
The
Obama administration said they did not do this.
Yes, they did.
Well, give us the facts. Give us the paper. Don't say it blindly. Give us the facts. Show me. Show me.
The press came out and was running pictures of what happened back in 2014. And then when they were called out on it, they backpedaled. Now here we are. Let's secure the border, close the
This is an issue of humanity, not about politics. This is an issue of humanity. Emily, this is an issue about humanity, not about politics. You even have Franklin Graham.
It is about humanity. We're also a nation of laws, and secure the damn border.
You have Franklin Graham, who the president loves. Franklin Graham, who said this is about family and talking religion. I mean, come on, this is about humanity, about people. You talk about you have children and dogs.
You know what? I have
we
a
all
question
have
for you. We all have children, right? And I want to know, would any of you send any one of your children to thousands of miles away without you, not knowing what's going to happen to that child?
No, I would not. But you know what? Emily, since you brought me into this, Emily, since you brought
this is the thing. Aaron,
Emily,
let me
since you brought me into this,
that's a totally different category.
Aaron,
Emily, since you brought me into this,
No, you said you. Let me respond to you.
Okay,
since
April,
you brought
quickly,
me
then
into this, no, I would not do that to my children. I'm with my children as much as I can be, but guess what? We don't have the circumstances that some of these people have. I am not living trying to duck and run. So you don't know what people are going through until you walk in someone else's shoes.
I
Don't
agree
say
with you,
what
but
you
let
would
me
do.
say something. Let me say
Amy.
something. If people are truly seeking asylum, then you go to a port of entry
know
and
what
you
these
come in.
people are doing.
Don't
You are
park
not
your
living
car.
like
away at
them.
the ports
You
of
cannot
entry.
assume.
314% of...
You cannot assume. You cannot assume.
I'm not assuming anything.
You were
I'm
able
not
to catch a
assuming
flight, as you
anything.
said. They had to walk across the border.
Most of these children are being brought in by cartels and coyotes. That's who are bringing them in. 10,000 of the 12,000 that are being detained right now have been brought in. They're not with their parents. We need to secure the border. We need to secure the border. Fix the problem, and anybody who is seeking asylum, go to a port of entry, and you're not going to be turned away.
Children who come with their parents
who have
and are then taken away from their parents. That's the specific group we're talking about. You keep mentioning the other children, but we're talking specifically about that group.
And I challenge you to listen to this audio that came out today, Amy. You listen to it.
Joan,
these are not smugglers. These are not coyotes. Secretary Nielsen did something kind of evil tonight by introducing that new line of reasoning that, oh, these are smugglers, these are traffickers. No, you hear people calling for mommy, mommy, and daddy, daddy. These are not traffickers. This is a new lie. Every night there's a new lie, Amy.
It's not a lie.
Every night there's a new lie.
It's not a lie. This is what the Democrats want to run on because they can't run on higher taxes and less jobs.
Amy, Kirsten Nielsen admitted that 2,000 of those children have been pulled from their parents. So if you're saying it's a lie, you're saying she's lying also.
Let's close the loophole, Aaron. Let's close the loophole.
Why would you put a temporary
What about the
emergent issue now? What about the emergent issue now? What about the emergency of now?
Right. Congress needs to fix it. They can fix it tonight. They're
fix
both
this,
in
but you want everything. You want a wall. You want everything. But what about the emergent issue right now?
Only Donald Trump can fix it tonight. He can end this
our border
policy.
secure, and I want these children taken care of.
So you want them taken care of, Amy, if you get a wall. That's what you're saying.
I mean, I want both of them. It doesn't have to be one or the other, Aaron.
But the children can stay hurting. You're saying you're not going to help these kids unless you get the wall, right?
Unless they can remain hurt. They can remain in a bad situation and hurt until you get a wall. And that could be years, months, whatever down the road. But the hurt will continue. Is that what you're saying?
No, April, that's not what I'm saying. And don't try to put words into my mouth.
I know that's what you just said. I'm not putting words in your mouth. You said it.
We could have fixed this a long time ago. We could have fixed it a long time ago.
All right, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you all very much. And when we talk about what can happen in Congress, I also want to play that shocking audio as we get ready to talk to the Democratic Senator Jeff Merkley, who's been at the front of this. ProPublica published it. This is the audio from inside a facility where some of these children have been separated from their parents. Listen in.
No llores. Vas a llegar con... Mira, ella te va a explicar.
Senator Jeff Merkley has been inside those detention centers. He's out front. He's going to talk about that and answer Amy's question. Plus, two Trump confidants suddenly remembering